1. Which of the following best demonstrates how adult learning principles can be applied during common safety orientation, CSO training? A. Delivering a lecture-heavy presentation with no interaction. B. Providing real-world safety scenarios for learners to problem solve. C. Repeating information word for word from the safety manual. D. Using only online modules without opportunities for discussion. 2. A supervisor mentors a new worker on hazard reporting. Which approach reflects effective mentoring in alignment with CSO requirements? A. Completing the report for the worker to save time. B. Asking the worker to memorize the hazard categories. C. Guiding the worker through the reporting process and giving feedback. D. Directing the worker to look up the process independently. 3. In evaluation methods for CSO training, which technique most effectively measures long-term retention of safety practices? A. Multiple choice test immediately after the session. B. Practical observation of workers applying safety rules weeks later. C. Attendance tracking during orientation. D. Self-reported confidence surveys. 4. Which communication method ensures regulatory compliance when sharing updates about workplace safety procedures? A. Verbal announcements at break times only. B. Posting updates in obscure areas of the workplace. C. Documented briefings with sign-off sheets. D. Informal peer-to-peer discussions. 5. What is the primary regulatory compliance purpose of the CSO? A. To replace all site-specific safety training. B. To provide consistent baseline safety knowledge across work sites. C. To eliminate the need for ongoing mentoring. E. To reduce the need for employer-led safety briefings. 6. When designing CSO curriculum, which factor best supports adult learning principles? A. Including lengthy memorization of codes and standards. B. Relating safety topics directly to tasks workers perform. C. Excluding practical examples to save time. D. Delivering content without opportunities for questions. 7. Which of the following evaluation methods best aligns with adult learning for verifying hazard recognition skills? A. Oral quiz on safety definitions. B. Group discussion on hazard scenarios. C. Written recall of safety slogans. D. Random guesswork exercises. 8. How should a mentor address a worker who repeatedly forgets PPE requirements during orientation? A. Punish the worker to enforce compliance. B. Ignore the behavior until the worker self-corrects. C. Provide corrective coaching with practical reminders. D. Remove the worker from orientation immediately. 9. Which communication strategy most effectively ensures workers internalize CSO content? A. Using jargon-heavy explanations. B. Encouraging questions and two-way dialogue. C. Limiting discussions to reduce training time. D. Reading the safety manual word for word. 10. During CSO, why is it important to include interactive evaluation techniques? A. To fill time during orientation sessions. B. To engage learners actively and confirm comprehension. C. To reduce the number of test questions required. D. To replace regulatory assessments. 11. Which element is most critical in mentoring new workers on emergency response procedures? A. Encouraging independent research only. B. Demonstrating procedures and supervising practice. C. Limiting explanations to brief summaries. D. Giving them a manual to read at home. 12. Which aspect of communication supports regulatory compliance in incident reporting? A. Ensuring workers know the confidential channels for reporting. B. Allowing incident reports to be submitted verbally only. C. Limiting access to reporting systems to supervisors. D. Discouraging follow-up after reports are filed. 13. A CSO test includes scenario-based questions. This best reflects which principle of adult learning? A. Adults learn best when content is abstract. B. Adults prefer content unrelated to their job roles. C. Adults learn effectively when applying knowledge to real-life contexts. D. Adults require memorization drills for retention. 14. Which is the most effective way to assess whether CSO trainees understand lockout-tagout procedures? A. Asking them to describe the steps verbally. B. Observing them perform the procedure correctly. C. Testing them with true-false questions only. D. Having them write the steps in order. 15. Why is regulatory compliance a key part of the CSO curriculum? It ensures training content aligns with safety laws and standards. B. It reduces the need for any company-specific training. C. It eliminates accountability for unsafe behavior. D. It limits employer responsibility in case of accidents. 16. Which mentoring technique best supports adult learners during CSO? A. Providing constructive feedback after observed practice. B. Assuming they already know all safety practices. C. Minimizing dialogue to keep sessions short. D. Delivering information without worker involvement. 17. What is the most reliable evaluation method to confirm worker understanding of confined space hazards after CSO? A. Matching terms to definitions. B. Group brainstorming sessions. C. Demonstrated simulation of entry procedures. D. Attendance sign-in sheets. 18. Which communication principle is most essential in CSO delivery? A. Speaking quickly to cover more material. B. Tailoring messages to be clear and job relevant. C. Using only technical terminology to maintain formality. D. Repeating information without context. 19. During curriculum development for CSO, which strategy ensures regulatory compliance? A. Aligning course objectives with legal and industry standards. Using outdated material if it is easier to understand. C. Excluding high-risk topics to reduce training time. D. Basing content on company tradition rather than regulations. 20. Which evaluation method most effectively determines if CSO participants can recognize unsafe conditions? A. Multiple choice tests with generic questions. B. Interactive hazard identification exercises. C. Written essays about workplace safety. D. Attendance verification only. 21. Why should CSO trainers use mentoring techniques alongside formal instruction? A. To reinforce knowledge with personalized guidance. B. To minimize the need for formal testing. C. To replace regulatory compliance requirements. D. To reduce the amount of training time. 22. Which CSO communication method most effectively ensures consistent understanding across diverse workforces? A. Visual aids and demonstrations. B. Technical manuals alone. C. Fast-paced lectures with no breaks. D. Peer gossip and informal sharing. 23. A CSO facilitator asks trainees to explain how they would respond to a specific hazard. This is an example of A. Passive instruction. B. Formative evaluation. C. Memorization testing. D. Regulatory compliance auditing. 24. When developing a CSO test, which principle ensures fairness and regulatory alignment? A. Questions must reflect actual worksite hazards and legal requirements. B. Questions should be overly complex to challenge workers. C. Test items should focus only on company-specific trivia. D. Questions should avoid regulatory content to save time. 25. Which mentoring technique aligns with adult learning principles in safety training? A. Encouraging learners to reflect on personal experiences. B. Delivering content without learner participation. C. Discouraging questions to maintain control. D. Requiring learners to memorize irrelevant details. 26. Why is it essential for CSO curriculum developers to incorporate evaluation strategies? A. To verify that learning objectives are met and safety skills are applied. B. To fulfill attendance quotas only. C. To ensure the program remains lecture-based. D. To eliminate the need for future refresher training. 27. Which regulatory compliance requirement is reinforced through CSO training? A. Worker responsibility for recognizing and reporting hazards. B. Employer exemption from conducting inspections. C. Replacing all training with online modules only. D. Avoiding documentation of incidents. 28. What communication practice strengthens worker confidence during CSO sessions? A. Allowing two-way interaction and clarifying doubts. B. Restricting questions to the end only. C. Speaking in overly technical language. D. Limiting explanations to written notes. 29. Which evaluation method provides the strongest evidence of CSO effectiveness for regulatory audits? A. Documented performance assessments and competency records. B. Informal verbal feedback from workers. C. Short, ungraded knowledge checks. D. Sign-in sheets confirming attendance. 30. How can mentors support continuous learning after CSO completion? A. Reinforcing safety behaviors through coaching on the job. B. Assuming workers retain all knowledge permanently. C. Reducing follow-up to avoid redundancy. D. Delegating responsibility entirely to supervisors.